Welcome, Vinod. Hi, and welcome to the first session of Placement Decoded by CoderZDevs. And how are you? First of all, how are you?
I'm good, Aditya. Yeah, glad to be on. Finally glad to be on your podcast. Yeah, I'm good. I just had my dinner. How about you? How are you?
Yeah, great. So I'm also fine. And yeah, let's dive into the session right away. First of all,
Yes, let's start.
really, it's a pleasure to have you here. And first, you took a lot of time from a busy schedule, and you're willing to help us and also the various aspirants of different placement that they are sitting for placement this year from our college and from different colleges worldwide. Diving into the concept of placements and the topic of placements. So first of all, in my mind, the first thought that comes is about the aptitude round for the placement. Yeah. So as regards the aptitude round, even we took a survey for the aptitude round and also the questions that we drafted out for this particular interview. So the first question that comes to my mind is that as regards the pattern of the aptitude round, is it same for all the companies or it may vary from company to company?
Okay, right. Just to give a context for some of the viewers of this podcast who might not know what aptitude round is or how a placement procedure takes place
Mm-hmm.
is, so usually what happens is that whenever a company comes for on-campus placements
Mm-hmm.
or even for off-campus, there is generally a first round of filtration that happens, right? So what that first round is usually, like in most of the cases, is the aptitude round.
Okay.
It's not mandatory for all the companies, but as I'm saying, like it's for most of the companies that this round happens. So what aptitude round consists of is it mainly consists of the maths, general maths, nothing very advanced or very difficult. Basic maths, what we have learned till 10th or 12th, not even 12th actually. Most of the questions are based on your knowledge till 10th. Then the second part of it is the English and the vocabulary that like these things are also asked. Like again, when I'm telling about these things, it varies from company to company. So that for
Mm,
example, some companies might not take English test. Some
okay.
companies might not have only like maths level only up to 10th level. They might ask a few difficult questions. And the third part of the aptitude round is puzzles, or like if some of the viewers are preparing for MBA, there is a section called as DILR, data interpretation and logical reasoning, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So there are puzzle rounds like that happen. These are the three parts, and fourth one again is an optional part. Not all companies do that. Is a coding round. So there would be 2 to 3 questions. In like there would be 2 to 3 coding questions similar to what we see on Hacker Rank or what we see on Code Forces, and we have to solve them. There are few test cases that are getting evaluated, and on the basis of that, you get the score. So these are four main components of an aptitude round or aptitude exam that happen.
Okay. Yeah. So, for example, like aptitude is only concerned with the MCQ in the latest, like in the previous year placements, I've heard a lot about the MCQs for the aptitude round. Or does it also contain like some MCQ regarding the coding questions?
Okay, yeah, good question actually. So, see, mainly when we are talking about placement rounds, right? As
Hmm.
I said, it varies a lot from company to company.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens is that some companies have outsourced this thing to a different company. So, for example, Principal Global that comes to our college, right, takes their aptitude exam on a platform called as eLitmus,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a platform called as eLitmus, and there is a platform called as I think on a like our college also recommends one platform. I'm not able to recollect its name. uh, there is
Mm,
eLitmus, there is one more platform, but yeah, like we can get back to that later. But there are these platforms which take aptitude exams, right?
hmm.
So it's not hard and fast that these companies will take these rounds, but generally, as I said, like uh, these four sections are definitely there.
Okay, great. So yeah, as you correctly said that there are four sections. That's right. Okay, but are there these four sections fixed? Like, let's say there are four rounds. Okay, the aptitude round, two technical rounds, and then the HR round. So is this fixed for all the companies, or some company might say that okay, if it is a MNCs, then it may have a third technical round in between?
Okay, right. So, yeah, so uh, what happens usually is there are not like three technical rounds usually don't happen. It is like too much. If it would be, like, if it is a Microsoft, Google, or Amazon, more than three or four technical round happens. But
Okay.
once the aptitude round is clear, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where most of the students I've seen students from diploma, right? They
Mm-hmm.
mainly struggle with aptitude rounds, and that's where main filtration happens. Like almost 50% or more than 50% of the students are eliminated in this round. Now coming back to your question, then after that happens a technical round, and technical round usually happens only one or max to max two.
Okay.
Again, companies like Persistent, if you are eligible for a higher package, which is based on your aptitude score, then they might take two rounds of
Hmm.
technical. Then RSL Raja Software Labs that comes to our company has three rounds of at least at our time there were three rounds of technical
Yeah.
quizzing that happened.
Correct.
And I'm just thinking about any other company. At least where I'm placed currently, Mortgage Card, it has only one technical round, and even TCS, Wipro, these companies have only one technical round.
Okay. Great. So majority of these companies have one or two technical rounds.
Correct, correct. Yeah, and just I was recollecting the name of the platform. Right, there is
Mm-hmm.
eLitmus and there is CoCubes,
Oh
CoCube
yeah.
score.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Cookies. I think it's around like 3,000 or 3,500 for cookies for registrations.
Right, yeah. The registration fee is around 3,500. This CoCube score is so on like just to give some additional information, there is a platform called as CoCubes which takes the aptitude exam. Now,
Mm-hmm.
on the basis of that score, you are eligible to apply for various companies that are listed on CoCube's platform. So, what
Okay.
these companies have done, these companies have outsourced their first round of filtration to CoCubes. They are saying that you take the aptitude round, we will just list our company there, and students on the basis of that score are eligible to apply for our companies.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. That's great. So, as regards the service-based companies and like the product-based companies, these two types. So, are the technical and aptitude rounds same for both of them, or does this procedure of interview rounds change on for each one?
Right. Yeah. The classic question between like choosing between a service based and product based company, right?
Yeah.
See, mainly what I have seen at least is service based companies, like the companies that have come to our campus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are big MNCs like TCS, Wipro, Persistent, Accenture.
Mm.
These are big companies. So I think they are like hiring more than 1 lakh students, or I'm not sure if I've got the numbers right, but yeah, definitely more than 50,000 students in a year, right?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
these companies don't have time to take three, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds of
Actually.
filtration, right? They
Yeah.
just want a bulk of students so that they can hire them, and they can uh, teach them to code.
Yeah.
Not actually teach them to code, but teach them to how to do projects and all.
Projects. Yeah.
So usually service-based companies have only one round because of lack of time, right? Whereas because the demand is higher for the freshers, they hire a lot of freshers, and therefore the number of rounds are less. Now coming back to the product based companies, right? Product based companies usually have a bit stricter level of filtration. The aptitude rounds are a bit on like strict side, like harder side,
Mm-hmm.
and even the technical rounds maybe one or two or three that happens. And it is much harder to get into a product based company as like if you're comparing it with a service based company. The reason is simple, right? There is a lot of demand for big service based companies, whereas the demand for product based companies is also there, but not as much as compared to service based companies. So if a product based company is hiring, let's say 5,000 students a year, the service based companies will be hiring at least three or four times more than that.
Okay. Yeah. So minimum like 20,000 or 25,000 per year.
See, again, there are small service based startups also. I'm not
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
I'm just
That's
referring to
true.
big companies because these companies come to our college.
Yeah.
placements.
Great. Yeah, that's true. So it is much easier to get into a service-based company like TCS than in a product-based company like a new startup or something like that.
Uh, yeah, I will stick to that statement. Yeah, it is much easier to get into TCS or any big MNC, as
Hmm.
if you are comparing it with any other product based startup or product based company. The
Yeah.
reason is also simple. See, there are pros and cons when it comes to product based and service based companies, right?
Hmm.
Product based companies, uh, so see, service based company is what? Service based company is taking projects from other clients,
Correct.
and they are doing the whole project and they are submitting it to them,
Submitting it.
right? Whereas product based companies are developing their own product, right?
Hmm.
Now think of it in this way. If you want to develop something for yourself, you will develop it well. You will
Yeah.
develop it very nicely, right? Whereas if you want to develop it for someone else, you won't have that amount of dedication,
Dedication.
because you're now that becomes more of a transaction, right?
Hmm.
So service based product based companies have good technical like the students or the employees in product based company have a good exposure to technical aspect of it, because now product based companies are using good tech so that their product becomes scalable, right?
Yeah.
Whereas service based companies are like, so service based companies take similar kind of projects most of the times, do it and then give it back to the clients.
Correct.
Then product based companies nowadays also have more flexible work life balance as compared to service based companies. There are these pros and cons of product based and service based companies, but yeah, even the salaries are higher again
Yeah.
in
True.
product based companies if you are comparing it with service based.
So that is the main advantage of product-based.
Yeah, that is the main advantage of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get to learn more, you get to earn more.
Correct. True. Very true. Yeah. So, talking about the rounds, like again coming back to the technical rounds. So, in are the coding rounds conducted by every company on their respective platforms, or do they use the ready-made platforms like Coding Ninjas and etc. Hacker Rank?
Uh, no. So, for example, if coding questions are a part of aptitude,
Mm-hmm.
right? They will take it on their platform. The aptitude exam and the coding exam, like they would be combined together and they would be taken on their platform itself, right? But like just referring to some of the companies, right? Let's say TCS. TCS has its own platform for taking the test. Infosys also has its own platform. Persistent has its own platform for taking. It is a part of aptitude, by the way, right?
Okay.
And even in the technical rounds, the coding happens where, like, if someone is interviewing, like if I am interviewing you, I will ask you to share the screen and like give you a problem statement and ask you to code. I think similar thing might have happened with you also when you were being interviewed by RSL, right?
Yeah. True. Yes. Correct. Yeah. So that's yeah. So that's the usual procedure that you just tell the student to share the screen and then just see if he's coding well or not.
Correct. That is like that happens in technical interview majorly. And second, as I said, if it is a part of aptitude, then they will take it on their platform itself.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
just to
nice.
mention one thing, sometimes aptitude exam happens first, then the
Mm-hmm.
filtration happens,
Hmm.
and then another coding test happens, which is again on their platform. That also happens. This happens for persistent. If you have qualified the first round, right?
Hmm.
And now if you are eligible for higher package, like persistent has two levels of packages, right?
Correct.
One is higher package and one is the other one. So if you're eligible for higher package, they will have a coding round which you will have to log into their platform, take it, take the test, and your score is generated, and then you are qualified or not qualified for the next round.
Okay. Yeah. And like the next round is the coding round, which is again taken on the same platform.
Yeah, it's again taken on the same platform.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah. So talking about coding rounds, a lot of doubts that I faced from different students were like they get a problem regarding the time complexity and like exceeding the, let's say the program is correct, it's exceeding the time complexity, space complexity. So the interviewers actually tell them to optimize the code. So
Correct.
what is the correct approach of approaching to such a questions?
Right. See, yeah. So usually, what might happen is, so the question that is given by the interviewee, or the question that is asked in the coding test,
Mm-hmm.
is usually, or like in most of the cases, would be a simple question to pass some of the test cases. So, like if there are 9 test cases, right? Those test cases are written in such a way that if you get your basic logic right, right, in that case you will be able to pass 2 or 3 test cases. Now there comes the point where the 6 test cases are failing, or where the code is not being optimized for rest of the 6 cases, right?
Correct.
That's where the companies want to test your knowledge on how you are able to use data structures, your knowledge with algorithms more effectively in order to solve this problem. So the
Yeah.
right way is, what I feel. If it's a technical interview, there is a different approach. If it's a coding round, there is a different approach. How I have done in my technical interviews is, whenever like an interview asks you this question, right? You try to solve it by the most obvious way that you think of,
Obviously.
right?
Correct.
Which might not be the best way to code it. You validate your approach with the person like who is interviewing you.
Mm-hmm.
Now like at some point they will like after this they will ask you to optimize the code. Now what happens is that whenever you're trying to optimize, don't get stuck. Like communicate your thoughts with the other person, right? Tell them you're thinking in this way, because at the end of it you might have got the question right, or you might not have got the question right. You might not be able to solve it, or you might not be able to solve it.
Correct.
But the main thing that an interviewer wants to see is how you are approaching the problem. What are the various things that are coming into your mind, how you are trying to solve it, how are you breaking down the problem into different sections and then approaching it, right? So for
Yeah.
example, let's say um, I've just taken an array and I'm trying to solve it, but it's not getting solved.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are the other data structures that are coming into my mind? Now, if I only keep this thing in my mind, I'm just stuck and I'm just seeing blankly, not communicating anything. The
Yeah.
other person will think that he doesn't know
He
anything.
doesn't know.
But
Yeah.
if you're continuously communicating with that person that I'm thinking of that, and interviewee is there because to help you, right? He doesn't
Mm.
want you to fail. He's not
Fail.
investing his half an hour to reject you. He's investing his half an hour to select you, right? So
Correct.
he gives like on your approach, he gives you hint. So he tells that, oh, this might be a correct approach, this might be a wrong approach, right? So for these hints to come in, you will have to start somewhere. So that's
Mm.
how I have approached these problems. Now, if it comes to coding round, then there is not much that you can do apart from practicing a lot on hacker and code forces, taking part in competitive coding examinations.
Yeah. So computer coding is the perfect way to approach to coding rounds.
Correct. Yeah. So competitive coding is important. See, if you want to get into a very good company as a software developer, right?
Mhm.
Competitive coding is essential. So many a times what happens, and since we all are from COVID batch, what happens is that we simply ignore the fundamentals of coding, which is data structures, algorithms, right? we
Absolutely.
we, we haven't we don't understand it much, and we don't practice it a lot, right? So if we are clear on the basics, if we are practicing regularly on competitive coding, I'm not saying like you should invest 10 hours a day just focusing on competitive coding. I have had friends who have invested hardly an hour or two, and their basic concepts of data structures and algorithms were clear, and they have gotten calls from Amazon, and they have been selected. So
Wow.
that has also happened, but I think majorly, if your basics are clear and your coding skills are decent enough, then I think you will be able to crack the coding problem.
Yeah. That's great. So what is important is to clear the basic principles of coding. Yeah.
Correct, yeah,
That's
very
true.
important.
So like the basic principles are there. We have the data structures, algorithms, etc. So in interviews, what are the major concepts that they ask on? Like time complexities, space complexities, data. Now DSA is a really vast topic. Like just saying the word DSA is not as good as explaining everything. So
Correct.
yeah, what are your
Correct.
takes
So
on it?
yeah, so what I have usually seen is, again, it differs from company to company. The bigger the company is,
Mm-hmm.
and if it is hiring a lot, like there are, if it is a mass recruiter, then they ask basic questions, which like standard questions. So what is data structure? Then what are the four principle of object oriented programming?
Hmm.
Then they will ask you differences between the data structure. Then they will ask you what is this, what are the sorting algorithms, what are the searching algorithms that are there, and might give you one or two basic coding questions, such as uh, print like how to know whether it's an Armstrong number or not, or how to like print a Fibonacci series by recursive function or by for loop. These are very basic questions, huh? I also know that a
Same.
second year student can also solve it.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about these big companies, which might ask, which most of the times ask very easy questions. Now, right. So now on the the product based companies, or uh, the coding rounds which are very tough, or the technical rounds
Yeah.
which are a bit tough,
Yeah.
uh, they ask you more about the data structures which are like graphs,
Hmm.
uh, PFS, DFS, or they ask you about algorithms such as dynamic programming, then backtracking. These algorithms which are a bit complex, they ask you or quiz you around these topics mostly,
Okay.
right? That's what happens. But I think majority of the companies are more focused on data structures and algorithms as as a part of their technical interview process. Some of the other elements of technical interview are uh, operating systems. These questions are also asked. So don't ignore these topics, because
Hmm.
these are also crucial in interviews or even in aptitude exams. Okay,
Yeah.
operating system. Then there is a topic called as COA in our studies, right?
Hmm.
Which is regarding computer architecture.
Correct.
This plus OOPS. So OOPS is one of the favorite topics of the technical interview. So you should know what OOPS stand for. What is object-oriented programming? What are the principles of object-oriented programming? What is an abstract class? What is a friend function? All these things, right?
Correct.
So which are very basic. But as I said, if you get your basics right, then I think technical round as well as the coding round is not that hard to crack.
Yeah, that's true. So basically, what I can get is that what a well-established company do not expect a lot of things, but they expect you to know the basic knowledge about what is DSA. Is that
Again,
right?
well established company
Yeah,
depends on which
it
company it
depends.
is, right? Amazon
Yeah,
will not ask you easy questions.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, perfect. Great. Okay. So, like, also we have this different coding platforms like HackerRank, there's Lead Code, there is, I guess there is CodeChef. So, a lot of students get confused, like, okay, which one of these following should we choose? Because a lot of students they try to go on each and every platform and they try to invest time in each and every platform. And what happens is that at the end of 3 years, they just master the competitive coding, but as regards the development part, like the web development or app development, they are not able to cope up with that as good as in the competitive coding.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So how usually, at least I have, or I would recommend approaching this is,
Mm.
see, platform initially for like first 3 months doesn't matter much. I feel the most friendly, user-friendly platform for beginners to start their competitive coding is HackerRank or LeetCode.
Yeah.
I feel it's very friendly and interactive as compared to other platforms. So what I would advise is to start with, like, more than choosing for platforms, right? Just start with practicing. Take any platform, um, start practicing one or two sums daily, and like once you gain that momentum, then like be clear with your aim. Do you
Yeah.
want to invest a lot of time on competitive coding? Do you want to participate in big coding competitions? Do you want to just be a master of one, or do you want to be a
Mm.
jack of all, right?
Yeah,
So
true.
right, so that is also very important. See, how you are going to position your career matters a lot. So if you are only going to master one, that is also fine. If you are going to be the best or one of the top competitive coders, or if you aim to be that, that is also fine. But what I feel is that software development doesn't only consist of data structures and algorithms. That is one of the
Yeah,
most important part.
absolutely.
But I think side by side, once you like, I would at least suggest is investing your first year and second year more onto data structures and algorithms and practicing competitive coding and giving a lot of time to that is great. But I think after third year, I think there should be at least one additional skill such as web development, Android development, or mastering any particular framework in web development like merge stack or
Yeah.
mean stack,
Correct.
or being good with Java because that is used in Android or Kotlin, or even the new things such as like AIML or ARVR,
Correct.
or maybe even blockchain, right? Blockchain has a lot of
Yeah.
demand right now.
Absolutely.
Correct. Yeah. So if you can just master any one of them, take out like 2 3 months where you say that like I will invest 10 days to this skill and see if I'm liking it, or if I want to
Hmm.
have a career in it, or am I just suitable, or I want to do only competitive coding. But like
Hmm.
take 3 4 months in after your second year or during your second term of second year, where you analyze yourself how you want to position your career, right?
Yeah. True.
Yeah,
So
that's
yes.
how I will also recommend, not only focusing on competitive coding because everyone is doing that, or you're seeing YouTube videos only on
Yeah.
competitive coding, but yeah, that happens a lot,
That
right?
happens a lot. Correct.
Right. But also thinking about other perspectives, right?
Hmm.
Like where you how can you turn your career into.
That's true. So it is basically important for us to be focused on our goals.
Am I audible?
Yeah, perfect. Now
Hello.
you're audible. Yes, great. Okay.
Perfect.
So it's basically important to like decide our goal, which in which direction we should go, and then work on that particular thing, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So, yeah, the next question for you is a bit not centered on this coding and technical rounds, but as regards, there are different approaches while going to the interviews. And as much as I've seen, there are lots of candidates who are actually worthy to crack the interview, but just because they're anxious, they're nervous, they cannot manage the psychological part of that, and they just don't make it. So, what should they follow to not get anxious much?
Yeah, right, Aditya. Like, see, I have been through that. So, I had a major fear of uh, s- getting like speaking publicly or
Hmm,
having
hmm.
being interviewed by someone, right? And I have gone through that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have
That's
gone
true.
through that. So how I have approached it is,
Hmm.
I had joined a class for just which tells you what which grooms you for public speaking,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So and that helped me a lot because see, as much as hard skills matter, right? uh, also matters, and in the job itself, you will realize that when you start working, matters a lot, your soft skills. So when I
Excellent.
see soft skills, what do they consist of? Some of the soft skills are like communicating. How do you communicate your ideas? How you are managing people? These things matter a lot. And
Yeah.
and in an interview, I think it matters a lot how you are communicating your thought process, how you are answering it, with what confidence you are answering it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have confidence on your answer, don't expect the other person to have confidence on them, right?
Absolutely.
So this matters a lot. But for that, what I will recommend is, before your interview, or like before 1 month or 2 month before your interview, like have some mock interviews with your friends,
Mm-hmm.
because that will just help you to analyze yourself, or it will create a simulation which will help you in actual interviews.
Yeah.
Because if you're directly sitting into the first interview, then you will obviously be nervous because you haven't gone through that
Absolutely.
previously.
Correct.
But if you have given 30 mock interviews, 20 mock interviews, or even 10 mock interviews, right now you have a feeling of how the interview might happen,
Yeah.
and you're prepared for it. So it shouldn't happen that you know everything, like you know DSA, you have prepared well for OOPS, you know how to code, you can answer all of them, but just because you are not able to translate your thoughts into the words, it shouldn't happen that you lose the placement offer, right? That shouldn't
Mm,
happen.
that's true. So getting accustomed to that environment is very important.
Correct, correct. And actually, one of the underrated things is also how, like, if today is my interview, right, and it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, how have I like till 3 p.m. what I have done? Like, have I eaten my
Mm-hmm.
breakfast? Have I had my lunch? What was the thought? Did some negative thought occur in my mind in the morning? These are small things, very underrated,
Yeah,
but these also play a crucial part on that particular day. And again, luck is a factor. So
yeah, that's true.
luck is a major factor in job interviews, but let's keep that aside because we can't change that.
Yeah, that's very correct. Yeah. So, yeah, as regards next question that I'm going to ask is this is a very much of a popular question that I'll always face from different friends that I have in my college, is that fear of missing out. And they have a lot of this question because a lot of times it happens that they sit for a, let's say, a 5 LPA package, and they have the interview process going on for days, and what happens that they miss out a 4.5 or 5.5 package in the same term.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, I completely agree to that, Aditya. So unfortunately, what has happened, like, or what how we see placements is
Hmm.
now, companies choosing us. We see it from that perspective. Which company
Yeah,
will choose us
yeah,
rather
correct.
than you choosing the company, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so we sit for the first company that comes. We sit for the second company. We sit for, if we are not getting selected in both the companies, we sit for the
Hmm.
third. We are not targeting the companies, which I think which I think is a bit uh, bad part or sad part about how some of the people think. And like that could be changed. See, it is simple. How you are imagining your career. When I see imagining your career means there may be 100 software development companies that are coming and they are offering you the same role.
Correct.
Now what you need to do is, like, you need to analyze your career. Like, when I say by analyzing, what it means is, in 3 years from now, how you're seeing, what are you doing?
Hmm.
Are you doing a higher degree that is there? Like, are you going for MBA, MS, MTech, anything? Or do you want to have a career in specific field like web development, UI designing, UX designing, or or are you looking for work life balance because
Yeah.
you are not a person who wants to have 10-15 hours, not 15 hours but 12 hours of
12 hours.
uh, rigorous work. Like, which category you fall into, these things you need to analyze, right? Because most of the students, or like most of the freshers, don't think about these things. They just randomly select for the company, and at the end, when they are doing the job, like, when like 3-4 months into their job, they realize that they have chosen a wrong company,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is, yeah, which then becomes which then becomes a regret, which I don't feel anyone should have. But how I would approach is like, I will make a list of things that I want from my first job, right? If I want work-life balance because I want to study for my higher degree, I will filter out the companies that have these work-life balance quality. Then I will look at, if I want to get into a product-based or service-based company, I will again have a filter on that. Then I will look for a salary range that I
Hmm.
want, because
Hmm.
some companies offer X amount of salary, some company offers Y amount of salary, right? And then, if then choose a company which is like then make a list of companies which are like 10 or 15, and then only focus on these 10 or 15 companies, right? Which may be on campus or off campus,
Yeah,
right?
true.
This list could be on campus or off campus. And then try your best to get into 10-15, like these 10-15 companies, right?
Yeah.
So right, so this is the approach. But the bad side about this approach is, what if you don't get into these 15 companies,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. So here when realistic things come into play, you have
Hmm.
to analyze what is the chance of getting into these 15 companies. It shouldn't be that these 15 companies are like much out of your reach right now because you're not prepared that well, right?
Yeah.
So you have to bring realistic factors into the play, and then make a list of companies in that perspective. However, what I would suggest is, have a backup option. Sit for, like, at least have one placement offer, but it shouldn't be that the placement offer that you have is restricting you from sitting for other companies. So
Yeah.
better, like, if you have a off-campus offer, right, focus on campus placements. That would be the best, right?
Yeah. So off campus is always better than on campus.
No, not really. What I'm saying is, if you are having a job opportunity, or if you are if you have a potential placement off campus,
Hmm.
there won't be any restriction on the companies that you're sitting for on campus, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct, absolutely. Like there are some criteria that certain colleges actually keep on campus
Correct.
placements. Yeah,
Correct. Some colleges say that if you are placed once, now you cannot sit for other companies. Some colleges say that if you are placed for this package, then you cannot sit for a package which is only 1 lakh higher than this. So there are these criteria. If you want to avoid these criteria, just have one backup option which is off-campus placement, and then have a list of on-campus placements that you want to target and only sit for those interviews.
yeah, correct, absolutely. So yeah, that approach is really important, which you just mentioned. That it's not we selecting the or it's not the company selecting us. It's like we selecting the companies that we have to apply for.
Correct. So it's a change in mindset,
Yeah.
Aditya. Like it won't happen overnight. Actually, I also sat for almost all the companies, I guess. Not all of them, but I also had this mindset. But now
Hmm.
when I look back, right, I feel that approach is very wrong.
Yeah.
Because if tomorrow, like I won't mention the name, I have a friend who is very good in UI designing and UX designing, right? He's very good with that part, and he's placed in a MNC. Now, in an MNC, he won't get that job of UI UX designing. He won't
Correct.
be able to do what he's best at, right? And that's what makes me sad, because you're not focusing your energy onto the right direction on the thing that you're good at, but the company is telling you what to focus on, because that's where they are extracting the value.
Absolutely. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's a major point to keep in mind. That's true.
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, as regards the what you say, the technical candidates are the IT students, the CS students, they approach to the technical interviews and IT companies. But even I've seen people of mechanical and ENTC branch because they have interest in IT sectors. They apply for IT companies, so they actually feel a bit low. Like they have not studied for coding for let's say all the 4 years. They just decide in that second or third year that okay, I want to crack a coding round or a coding interview, so they prepare for a coding for in a particular languages. Now basically in recent times all choose Python because it's much easier.
Correct.
Yeah, so what the main problem they face is that even if they get Python fairly good into them, they still face problems with C++ and Java. So how should
Right.
these people what approach should these people use for the technical interviews?
Yeah, right. So yeah, obviously the non-IT background students are now, like, some of them are trying to get into IT fields, right? And that's because either they are inclined towards IT field, or the IT field is booming a lot, so the salaries are going at a much higher level if you are comparing it with non-IT fields, right?
Yeah, true.
So that is definitely happening. And for getting into IT field, as you rightly said, they are like starting with Python,
Hmm.
which is language. But even before, like, it is good to start with Python because it is easy to learn and easy to use. But one thing I think that should be done is, again, going back to the fundamentals, the programming fundamentals that are there, right? Studying what is OOPS, studying data structures and algorithms. If that is, and it is not specific to, like, branches, right? Anyone can just go to Geeks for Geeks website, read like, there is plenty of material that is available online. You can
Absolutely.
start learning from that. I think that is something uh, that will make students which are not from computer IT background a bit more prepared for the interviews. However, having said that, uh, there is one part of preparation that happens, right? But sadly, what also happens is that there are many companies which don't allow students from non-IT background to even sit for their
Hmm.
placements.
Yeah, true.
That is one bad thing about being a non-IT student. That is, which is, you cannot sit for some companies' placements round. But there are few companies like Principal Global Services,
Hmm.
which allow you, or even um, I think TCS and these big companies also allow students for various backgrounds to sit for their placements.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it depends on company. I'm just recalling which companies allow. Apart from, I think Persistent allows ENTC students to sit for their placements, and there are these companies. But if you once you have your first job, right, in IT field, then it won't matter much
Hmm.
that if you're from a IT background or a non-IT background. So getting your first job would be a bit difficult for non-IT students, in terms of learning also, because they are not, the first year and second year didn't happen, like they were not taught about computer programming,
Yeah.
and many of the students might have decided in third or fourth year to take up or go switch to IT field.
Yeah.
That would definitely would be a challenge. But again, from the learning perspective, it would be going back to the fundamentals, understanding programming, then taking up Python or C++. Because once you understand the basic of programming, it doesn't matter whether it's a Python, Java, or C++. Each language has its own set of features, but the
Yeah.
basics still remain the same, right? That is one way of, like, that is the aspect of practicing. From the job perspective, there would be limitations, but you will have to get into first company, then it would be a bit easier for you.
Yeah, true. So getting into the first company is important. For that, they will have to apply all their efforts, and then once they have a background of getting into one IT company, then it will be much easier for them for the next interviews.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, perfect. Great. So yeah, you already told about the soft skills that various candidates need along with the coding skills. So like this soft skills, there are many, like in this today's world, there is competition. The competition is much high. So in competition, along with good skills, standing out is really important in the entire, what is a crowd. So what are the personality traits that they actually look for? Like they are they much leaning towards the outspeak, what you say, a person who is not an introvert, or they do see whether you're introvert or no, or they do see the interaction that you make with the interview.
Okay. See, so coming, like, talking about your question about introvert or extrovert, I don't think that's a problem at the first place,
Yeah.
because I've seen like students or my friends who are introvert, uh, but speak very well in interviews. So I think in interviews it doesn't matter much whether you're introvert or not. The second thing, about your question, how to stand out from a crowd, right? So yeah, definitely there is a lot of competition. Everyone knows data structures. Or maybe
Yeah.
most of them might be on similar level as as others in terms of data structures, algorithms, uh, oops concepts, and all these things, right? I'm saying most of them. Some of them might be very extraordinary, some of them might not know anything, but yeah. How to stand out is, what I personally feel is, what is the X factor that you are bringing in, and how you are communicating it. So one skill is communicating your thoughts better, and just improving on your communication skills, right? Second thing is how you're presenting yourself. So what I mean by that is, I will just give you an example from my experience. So what I did was, for interviews, right, I had created one WhatsApp bot
Mhm.
for interview. If you go to that WhatsApp number and just start the conversation, it will tell everything about me. So I was thinking it in this perspective. Like, if I will tell that, in middle of interview, I will just tell that I have developed this WhatsApp bot, and then I will ask them, like, if you can message this, it will just give you a lot of information about me. So that's where the interviews, like the interview also gets a bit surprised, pleasantly surprised actually, where he sees something different as compared to what he has seen for other 100 candidates, right? He
Mhm.
notices you, he remembers you, on this thing. So these are various ways of just standing out from the crowd. Another way could be, though I haven't used that, by the way. I couldn't use that because before that only I got placed.
Okay.
So uh, yeah, so I had developed it, but I never got a chance to present it. But another way could be, let's say you're applying for an off-campus placement, right? Now, again, if it's a good company, then there would be several applicants, or even for any company, for that matter, will have a lot of competition. There would be 200 or 300 applications, and out of them only two or three might get selected.
Correct.
The first obvious criteria would be the knowledge. But even when you're approaching the company, how you're approaching it, right? How are you getting a referral from someone in the company, back, like,
Mhm.
by talking to them on LinkedIn and everything, or are you directly going and applying for the job? This is also one of the soft skill that matters. The second thing is, the second thing is how you are approaching the company. As I said, referral is one way. The second way is, let's say you are applying for a front end developer role, correct?
Yeah.
Now what most people will do is they will go to their career website, they will apply for the job, right? Another way to look at it is would be you design their landing page in a different way on your local system, send the GitHub link to them
Mm.
while applying for the job. I'm a front end developer. This. I have these skill sets, and I have designed this landing page, which I feel might be a bit better than what you have, or maybe you can just wordsmith it a little bit more. But basically, if you can just design it and then send them, then you are automatically standing out from all the 100 applications that they have, right? No one has taken
Absolutely.
that amount of efforts
Correct.
to stand, right? So HR or the recruiter will obviously remember you. It won't be that the person again thinks of you as one of the person in the crowd, right?
Hmm.
They know that you are a bit different from others. That is one way of standing out. There are various ways.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we should have a what to say out of the box project or some special project. That is.
Something like, I think something you should have which will just separate you from the crowd. But because again, if don't be just one person in the whole crowd, be a bit different.
Yeah, that's really great. So yeah, now coming to the group discussion part, that is also another topic that many of people fear. Some treat group discussion as an advantage, like they really like to have a group discussion and really like to interact in the group discussion. But a lot of candidates feel that group discussion is like something which is difficult to interact with the like to introduce your point in the given time. That is the most difficult part. So how should the candidates apply for like approach the group discussion?
Okay. See, I'm not the best person to answer this question. The reason is this: because at our time there was no group interview that happened because the pandemic and everything was going on, and the interviews were online, right? So everything happened online. So at our time, actually, no company took any group discussion or like for that matter, any discussion round happened. So that didn't happen at our time. So I don't have an experience of a group
GD.
discussion interview.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No problem. But they should
Like
actually.
at your time, did it happen for any company? Right now, is it happening for any company?
Yeah. I think at my time it happened for Geo. I guess. Yeah.
For Geo?
So yeah. So the approach that Geo had for our selection was that they had aptitude test, and then they had those who fail in the aptitude test are going to have a GD.
Okay.
So they actually made GED as a backup plan for those who are not able to clear, and that is why they kept the aptitude test at a much higher difficulty level.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. But okay, so let's conclude this as they should approach with positivity in the GD. They should keep a good mindset.
Yeah, they should. They should. But again, like what happens usually in GD is they are testing your communicating skills. The first thing, communication skills, and the second thing is how you're presenting your thoughts again. How you're breaking down and like how you're breaking down your thoughts and how you are working in a team, right?
Yeah.
Like there would be in a group discussion, usually there are two groups that automatically happen, one supporting one view, another supporting another view. How you are letting others also speak while communicating yourself also.
Yeah.
These are the soft, like it's basically a evaluation of your soft skills.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Great. So yeah, now coming to the HR round, like technical is done, the group GD is done. The HR round, a lot of times people have the intuition of the HR round that okay, once we reach the HR round, it's going to be a good positive feedback from the company side. So what I've seen is there is still 1% or 1.5% people that they don't make the HR round, and actually they are very good coders. So what may be the reason with that, and how should they try to approach the HR round?
Yeah, I'm among that 1.5%. What happened? What happened with me? It was it was I think my first company HR round.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so, or I think Principal Global came before that. So I was being interviewed by this company, which I won't name, but so like everything happened. Like aptitude round got like I got selected from that. Then technical round I cleared that. Then it came like there came an HR round. So in HR round, general discussion happened. I don't know, like general questions about you, your background, and general. basic how we ask general information about someone.
Yeah.
Only these things happen. And at the end of the interview, everything went well. And after 3 days, I got to know that I wasn't selected, and I was the only person who wasn't selected out of a group of 30.
Oh,
I honestly don't know the reason for this. See,
the luck
I
factor.
yeah, totally, yeah, the luck factor, I guess. But HR rounds are like, see, to be very honest, HR rounds are mostly, if you are going till HR round, mostly you are selected.
Correct.
So HR round is just for communicating, so that that interaction, that friendly interaction that you want to have with the company, or if you have any doubts about, if you want to ask any questions about the company, if you have any doubts regarding it. So mostly like 99% of the times, if you reach HR round, you are selected.
Yeah. So before the HR round, we should have a good, adequate knowledge about the company in we are going.
See, no, not necessarily. Again, some companies might ask a few things, but HR round is not to quiz you at all.
Yeah.
It is to tell you more about your company. Just have that 15 minutes or 20 minutes of friendly interaction with you.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
And by the way, when you're sitting for the interview, you should have a lot of knowledge about the company.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
That's true.
not you
Not
shouldn't
for
wait
HR.
till HR round. Yeah,
That's true. That's true. You should have the knowledge about the company right from the first round you apply for.
correct. Because that is like, basically you should know the company you possibly might work for, right? It shouldn't be that after you are getting selected, now you are seeing what the company is all about.
Yeah, that's true. It's like once we get selected, okay, this was app development company. Oh no, this is website development, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So now coming to the off-campus part, like on-campus is, yeah, you really had a great discussion. We had a great discussion regarding the on-campus selections, and you also mentioned off-campus rounds and techniques in between those points. But as regards off-campus, like a lot of times it happens that off-campus packages are much higher than the on-campus packages. So that is why
Hmm.
people tend to go to off-campus, and but they don't realize that off-campus selections are much harder. So is it like that, or is it is off-campus much easier than on-campus?
Okay. Yeah, good question actually. So there are two ways to look at it, right? First one is, on campus we are not taking any efforts to bring the company.
Hmm.
College is taking the efforts, and we are just applying for it. So there is one piece of work that is reduced for us,
Hmm.
which is done by the college, which is bringing the company, right? And off campus we will have to approach the company, then we will have to wait for their replies, and it's a long process. So that's where most of the students tend to not take that effort. That's the first round of filtration, where students themselves decide that they don't want to apply for off campus.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there are certain students who are not very satisfied with on campus, or they just want to explore the off campus opportunities.
Hmm.
Correct. So coming to your package point, personally I don't think it's always that the off-campus companies offer a lot of package, or a higher package as compared to on-campus. There are decent companies which come to our college which also offer a competitive package. So for example, like Principal Global Services, again I'm just recalling the name, has a good package, right? It's more than 7, I guess, right now.
Yeah.
And even TCS, for that matter, TCS higher package is at 7.5. At least for at our time it was 7.5. It might have increased right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, but off campus, see, what is the main motive? At least what I feel a person or a student should apply for off campus. First one is, if they are not satisfied with whatever opportunities that they are getting on campus. That is the
Hmm.
first thing. The second and the most important, like most important thing is, the first company college is bringing for you. What about the second company?
Yeah.
Second company, you will have to bring it, right? You will have to apply, and you will have to go through that process at some point of in your life.
Correct.
Why not go through it now? Like, why not?
Correct.
And the third point, again, if you are getting X package right now
Hmm.
in on campus, um, there is a possibility that off campus you might get more package than X, right?
Hmm.
And there also comes a part of negotiation skills that
Yeah.
happen, which on campus you cannot negotiate your salary.
Negotiate.
If someone says that your salary is X, you will have to stick to that because that's what the company has committed to the college and college has committed to the company, right?
Correct.
But off campus, that's no longer a barrier. You can negotiate the salaries, and that is an important skill.
Yeah,
Again, you will know as you progress in your job, but negotiation of salary is very important.
yeah, that's true. So that
There are
approach,
definitely advantages to off campus.
yeah, so that is the approach that we have to keep. Like negotiation is possible, and in off campus we have that particular flexibility with us.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And at some point, anyway, you will have to go through this. Then why not now?
Yeah,
Fail faster, learn faster.
that's true. So yeah, that's a very nice point that you actually made. That most of the students actually not like they don't want to make all these efforts, like the off-campus efforts, do the application themselves, and then go for the interviews, all that things. So probably
Correct.
because of that, they might not be applying for off-campus
Yeah, right, right. The best way to reject, like getting rejected by someone is to reject ourselves first.
ourselves. Yeah, absolutely correct. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, now off-campus, the topic of off-campus, in topic of off-campus, the main point is which are the best companies for off-campus, at least in the past 2 to 3 years.
See, there are no specific company names that I would be able to take. I will be able to take the sector names, or like
Yeah,
I will be able to give you a generic answer about it, right?
perfect. Yes.
So, see, I think the best thing right now is because of, let's say, because of IT boom or because of uh, whatever a great run the economy had in past few years. Right now, the economy is on the downside. I know that,
Hmm.
but whatever economy had a good run in COVID time, there were a lot of startups that emerged, and because of it was work from home, there was a lot of IT things, or it was more like the economy was more favorable to
Yeah.
IT infrastructure, IT companies, software development companies, product companies, and everything, right? So because of that, many startups have emerged, and
Hmm.
I think the best way to have or best way to get into a off-campus company would be to go with startups. The reason for that is this. So the first thing is startups are looking for great talent. So if you are that talented person, startups will appreciate you in terms of recruiting you and in terms of the package. They will offer you a competitive package. It's not that small startups of 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 people won't give as much package as your on campus placement. They will, if you have that talent. Then the second thing is, there are many career websites that you see of various companies, right? So one of my friend is one of like actually many of my friends just applied onto their career websites and just got an interview call. They converted that interview into a placement. That is one way to look for it.
Correct.
You go to the career website, you see if there is an opening, you apply for it, right? That is the second way. The third way is, and again, this is applicable for all the companies, right? So,
Hmm.
as I said, I will not be able to name the companies that are there. I have already named startups. You can apply for any startup that you feel like.
Hmm.
Now I'm just telling the approaches. First one is the career websites that you can look out for. The second one is you ask the HR of that company if there is an opening or not. Third one is if you have anyone who is already working in the company, you ask
Hmm.
them, because many times it happens that, and actually this is a very big job market that never comes on the market, right?
Hmm.
Because if I am placed in a company, I know someone, I directly tell my HR that this like I have a, like in our company there is an opening, but our company hasn't posted anywhere, right? Like before even posting, I know that there is a job opening
Job
because
opening.
from that company, I ask my friend to interview for it, the job gets filled. So
Correct.
that job hasn't even come into the market, but that position is filled. So if you have friends or any connections in these companies, you ask them if there is an opening, interview for those company, and then you have a chance of getting placed in that company. That is the third way of approaching a off-campus company. The fourth way of approaching is writing a mail to their HR instead of going through LinkedIn, doing something a bit out of the box, and like being a bit appealing to that company so that they will at least interview, so that you have a chance for that.
So
But yeah,
cold,
but
yeah,
but
cold mailing is also important.
cold emailing is important. Yeah, I don't do that a lot because right now I'm not looking for a job. But yeah, that is important. Yeah, but in a nutshell, I think the startups are the best thing that you can get into in terms of learning and earning. The second best would be to go to career website of the companies that you always wanted to work for. And this is the approach. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Okay, great. So yeah, that were all the what to say the shortlisted questions that I had as regards to this interview is concerned. But also along with these questions, actually we took a survey on various social media platforms for CoderZDevs. So
Hmm.
people posted their doubts, their questions, and out of that we shortlisted five basic questions. Like many questions are they have the same content, like the meaning is same, but the language is different, just like that.
Okay.
So what we did is that we shortlisted five main questions basis on the
Hmm.
content of the question. So yeah, now let's come to that. So I will just open my forum of
Correct.
survey forum
Okay.
and let's check out the questions that we have. Okay, great. So the first question that we have is yeah. So for aptitude, what kind of preparation is needed? And for coding, do we need to have deep knowledge about it or basic knowledge is sufficient? Yeah. So you have already answered this in this interview, but yeah, one final conclusion that you will have for this particular candidate.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure. So for aptitude, see, for aptitude, you need to analyze yourself first, right? Just take a mock paper of any company that you are going to apply, see where you stand, and just analyze. Like if how much practice do you need? Are there some concepts in logical reasoning that you are not able to solve? Are there any topics such as speed, distance, time that you're not able to solve? Analyze it, work on it, and then like just prepare for it. So it's not very hard to prepare for aptitude exams because as I said, they only ask you till most of the companies just ask you till 10th grade of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And coming to the second part of the question, do we need deep knowledge and or basic knowledge is sufficient? Again, these are these are a bit abstract term in terms of what do you mean by deep knowledge and what do you mean by basic knowledge.
Yeah, correct.
As I said, like uh, if you are familiar with the data structures, if you have a understanding of how data structures work, the algorithms such as searching, sorting, some fundamental algorithms,
Mm-hmm.
and if you are clear on oops concepts, I think that would be good enough for most of the companies. But however, if you want to get into big companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, and all these big companies, I think you need a much more vast knowledge on these topics
Yeah,
and a lot of practice. Yeah.
yeah, perfect. That's correct. That's great. So basically, like if this person is asking about deep knowledge, what is he regarding like deep knowledge is very important.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, great. So let's move on to the second question. Yeah, does every company conduct aptitude rounds? Okay. Is coding MCQs compulsory in aptitude rounds? Yeah, this is a very interesting question.
Yeah. Does every company conduct aptitude rounds? No. Not every company conducts aptitude rounds. As I said, most of the companies do it, but not all of them. Is coding compulsory in aptitude rounds? Is coding MCQs compulsory in aptitude rounds? Again, depends on the company. See, for example, Persistent has coding MCQ. Principal Global Services doesn't have it. RSL I think has it, right?
Correct.
Aditya? Uh, RSL has it. TCS
RSL,
also has it.
yeah,
Yeah, TCS also has it. Infosys has it. So I will say 70% to 80% of the companies have it.
yeah. And the second question of this is coding MCQs compulsory? Like, yeah, I think he means to ask that does each and every aptitude rounds consist of coding MCQs? Like there is a given
Yeah,
code and you are asked the output of it.
correct, correct. So as I said, 70 to 80% uh, companies might ask coding MCUs.
Okay, yeah, great. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Yeah, this is probable questions asked from resume. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
this seems to be a really important questions.
yeah. This is very crucial. See, what I have seen at least is uh, once you clear the first technical round, usually some companies do have a managerial round, right?
Hmm,
Or even in the technical round, they ask you a lot of questions on your resume.
correct.
So, what are the probable questions that might be asked in your resume is So your resume consists of various parts, right? First one is your like your education. The second is the projects that you have done, which is very very crucial, because in a technical interview or a managerial interview, they will ask you on the projects what was your part in the project, how did you contribute to it, for like what tech stack was developed. They will ask you some technical questions about what was the technicality, what was technical difficulty that you have faced in this particular project.
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, they will judge you on the basis of the projects that you have done, definitely. This the next part is the awards, or like whatever achievements that you have in related to coding or related to computer engineering. For example, if you have participated in any hackathon,
Yeah.
uh, and you have won it, that is usually much more appreciated. Or like interviewee like remembers it, and that is a good factor on your resume.
Hmm.
And the next and the last part would be yeah, the internships that you have done. If you have done internships, then it is like yeah, it is, again, it is appreciated, and the interviewee knows that you have some experience of working in a company. But nonetheless, if you don't have an internship experience, that is not at all considered a very bad, because the first job is made to like teach you the things, how industry works, how actual coding is done in the industry and everything. So
Correct.
it's not bad to not have internships, but yeah, it would definitely be a plus point if you have done it.
Yeah.
So these are the usual questions on the resume.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So basically, what the important points are: your experience, your achievements, and the skills that we mentioned on the resume.
The skills and the projects.
Yeah. Perfect. Correct. Okay. Let's go to the next question. Yeah. Project related questions. Does final year project play an important role? Are questions based on it asked in the interviews? Yeah.
Depends on when you are giving the interview.
Hmm.
If you're giving it in August, September, October, they won't ask you. But as the fourth year like seems to end, as the fourth year comes to an end, the companies that will come at the end will ask you a few questions about what is your final project about, final year project about, what is your role in this, and these questions will come. But not I don't think it will come in July, August, or September.
Okay. So the companies that come late might ask on the final.
Yeah, again, yeah, they will ask, and the questions that would be asked is what is your role, what is the tech stack that you are using, why you have chosen this project, and these questions.
Yeah. Perfect. Right. Okay. So moving on to the last question that we have for the survey. What is the exact process while shifting from one offer to another in case of on-campus selections? Yeah.
Right. So, what is the exact process while shifting from one offer to other? So, usually in on-campus placements are conducted uh, till I think March or April, right? Not more than that. And most of the companies give offer letter after that.
Mm-hmm.
After even if you're selected right now, you will get an offer letter after March or April, right?
Correct.
So by that time, you are at a good position to decide which company you want to go with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just like when deciding or finalizing the company, just make sure that before you are signing any document, it doesn't mean that like that document doesn't state that now signing this document means that you will join the company and it is compulsory to join the company. I haven't seen I haven't seen companies which are offering or making like adding this clause in the document right after they have selected the candidate. Like for example, if you are being interviewed today in the month of August, tomorrow a company will send the document for you to sign,
Yeah.
and now you cannot say no to that company. Usually doesn't happen.
Correct.
So it is up to you
Yeah.
to which company to go for.
Perfect. So usually when we get the offer letter till then we get a good what to say experience of which to be where to be applied and which one we can reject.
Yeah, exactly. And see, even if you have signed the offer letter and given it and everything, again, it is not very hard and fast that you will have to join that company. Okay,
Yeah.
you can just take an escape route if you feel that other company is good. So it won't be like, don't take that tension. Just have a better company offer in your hand, and that would be good.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Yeah, thank you very much, Vinod, again. And yeah, really great interacting with you, having this such a great discussion with you. And I hope that all the questions that we had, also the questions that we got from survey, were cleared for all our audience. And really great thing that you spared out such a large amount of time. I think it's already 1 hour to 1 hour 5 minutes that we are having this session. So really, thank you for your valuable time. And any like before signing off, any special tips that you will have about, like, of course you told all about the psychology approach also regarding the interviews, so any final conclusions that you will have for our candidates?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Aditya, for inviting me onto this podcast. Right. So it was fun time interacting. It is good to be on the other side. I have usually been the person who has interviewed the other person, but it is good to be on the other side. The questions like that you asked were definitely thought provoking, and yeah, I also had a good time chatting with you. Uh, yeah. So final thoughts, right? So what I feel is, when I initially started with this placement and all, right, I used to be very tense. Like one rejection, I remember I got rejected by Principal Global Services, right, PGS,
Mm-hmm.
and I was heartbroken. The reason is, actually we had participated in their hackathon. We had done decent in their hackathon, and still I was not able to clear that round. And I felt that now how will it happen? At one point I remember talking to my senior and saying that I don't think I would be able to make it to any company,
Mm.
and it seemed that tough. And now that I look back, I just laugh at it, because why did I make these conclusions? Why was I so harsh on myself? And why did I feel that I'm not worthy of anything, right?
Yeah,
Again, so basically, what I feel is that the mindset that you need to have matters a lot. One rejection is not going to break you, or is not telling you what you are capable of. It's just the interview day. It's just the questions that were asked, and it's definitely the luck factor that comes in.
absolutely.
So don't ever get disheartened about anything. Don't be harsh on yourself. This is not a do or die situation. So you
Yeah.
yeah, uh, you all will get placed at a very very nice company. You all, yeah, I definitely for sure know that computer IT are the branches which will have great placement this year
Mm-hmm.
and in the years to come. Everyone is going to get placed at a decent package in a decent company, so don't have fear for that. Have a great mindset, and I think the most important tip, which I also try to implement. Again, all these things, what I'm telling, it isn't that I have applied it and now I am over this. And
Yeah.
no, it's not like that. I'm also struggling to apply it or trying to apply it. One thing I will say is, don't drink. So this is not an original quote, obviously, but I have also read it somewhere that, uh, don't be that person who dreams small and achieve it,
Mm.
but be that person who dreams big and might or might not achieve it, right? So let's I haven't specifically mentioned packages right now till this point of interview. I didn't take any numbers most of the times, but let's see. I just want to talk about it because it is important. let's
Yeah.
let's uh, let's put it frankly there. So don't say that I am only eligible for this much amount of package. Let's not say that I'm only eligible for 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, right? Think big. Why not 30 lakhs? Why not? Just ask the question, right? First,
Correct.
why not? And if like if I get that, like I want to at least try for 30 lakhs, how can I try it? See, again, I've read it somewhere that how can, like as I said, this is a factor, this is a luck, right? That happens. This is dependent on luck. How to increase your chance of getting lucky?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make sure that when you toss a coin, it is heads? You cannot obviously predict it, right? But the if someone is good at maths, they will know that if you are tossing the coin a lot of times, at some point, saying that 100 coin tosses will always have tails, is has a very very low probability, right? There will at least be one head that will be coming if you are tossing the coin 100 times. So
That's
if
true.
you're trying for 100 times, there will at least be one success that you will get, right?
Absolutely.
But are you trying for 100 times?
Yeah.
Probably no, right? Probably you might not try for 100 times. So you are not making yourself luckier because you are not trying yourself a
Hmm.
lot of time. So think about how you can achieve higher packages, how you can go into the best companies that you have always dreamed of. Make a list of 100 companies, apply for those companies. Don't reject yourself first rather than getting rejected by the company. First, have belief in yourself, apply for the companies, apply, dream big, have think about better packages, better companies, because you are definitely worth much more than what company think you're worth of.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's a very important issue that I've even observed in candidates of this year, like with my batch and the previous batch, that the confidence level of these candidates has decreased really drastically as regards if you take a 2016 batch or 15 batch, because they were offline, of course. So offline interviews have a lot of impact on the candidates, but because of the online sessions and etc., even those who have got placed are pretty confident. But all the other people who have, let's say, they have faced rejection one time or two time, they are really like they are not that happy with it. Of course, with rejection, who is happy? But they are not that confident that okay, even if I've faced rejection this time, I will not give up, I will try it again, and I'm going to go to apply for the next company.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I completely agree to you, Aditya. Like, I think being hard on yourself after getting rejected is the worst thing that you can do to yourself, right?
That's
You
true.
can obviously reflect what went wrong, you can improve on that, but um, don't be very hard on yourself. And like, just have a mindset of dreaming big, and
Perfect.
because if the faster you make mistakes, the faster you will learn. And also, having said that, see, I have also right now, I have also not applied for a lot of off-campus companies, or I didn't make this list, right? But now when I look back, if I will apply for my next job, I will have a different approach. But this I have learned after 1 year or 1 year 3 months. I don't want any other person to make the same mistake, right?
True.
So
Yeah.
I definitely have one regret, that I should have, or anyone from actually anyone should have bigger dreams rather than saying that I am only worth of this. Okay, I got this, great.
Yeah.
I got what I was worth of. Who told you you were worth of this? You might be worth a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah, so these are the bulletin points of today's session. Okay, great. Yeah, so again, it was really nice interacting with you. Thank you for this session, and thank you for coming, sparing your time. And also, my message to all of our viewers will be to subscribe our channel for more such content. And of course, the takeaways from this session are the most important point. Like even if you don't subscribe the channel, it's not a problem. But do take away the important points, right?
No, do subscribe for this channel, right? Yeah, because Aditya is making a lot of effort in producing valuable content for you guys. Like, this could have been a one-on-one chat
Yeah.
with him, uh, but yeah, kudos to you, Aditya.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you again. And yeah, so with that, let's sign off with this. And thank you once again for joining us. And see you soon offline in Pune. Bye bye.
Yeah.